Good evening, SportsZonians. How's everybody doing out there tonight? I am Mike Aglioloro. I am your host for this is SportsZone. Coming to you live like we do each and every week here via the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Radio Network. We got a good show for you tonight. We'll be joined by both Dave Hastings and Erich Tressler in a matter of minutes. And we got a lot to talk about tonight. We are almost on the eve of Super Bowl 53. Excuse me. Shouldn't drink that much soda before you start the show. We are on the eve of Super Bowl 53. The New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams from Atlanta, of course, takes place this Sunday. So we're going to do a little preview on that game and give our predictions. 17 years after the Patriots won their first Super Bowl against the then St. Louis Rams. It'll be very interesting to see how this game plays out. Will the Patriots be able to win their sixth Super Bowl under Brady and Belichick, or will they lose for the fourth time under Brady and Belichick? That is the main storyline. Will Jared Goff be able to be the only quarterback outside of the NFC East able to take the fight to the New England Patriots for four quarters? Because, of course, Matt Ryan did it, but they kind of let up in that third and fourth quarter anyway. So we have all that, and we will get into that when Erich and Dave join us in a little while. We have the whole Anthony Davis drama that has been playing out in the NBA and in the media for the last 2 days, where, of course, he requested a trade from the New Orleans Pelicans. His agent, Ron Paul, stated publicly that they informed the Pelicans they will not be re-signing with the team when he is a free agent. It's after next season, I believe. So they requested a trade, and it sparked all sorts of drama. So we will get into that. And let's begin right now because we are joined by Erich Tressler. Erich, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing good. Were you talking Anthony Davis? Was that what I was hearing?
Yeah, but before we talk about Anthony Davis, we are joined by Dave Hastings. Dave, how you doing?
Doing good, Mike. Doing good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. And yes, now we have the full assortment of characters here. Let's get into this Anthony Davis nonsense because I believe it was yesterday. So Ron Paul announces publicly that Anthony Davis isn't going to resign with the Pelicans. They informed the Pelicans this. They asked for a trade. The Pelicans released a statement where at the end of it, in what could be considered a very veiled shot at LeBron James, they said, "We hope the league enforces its tampering policies to ensure the integrity of this entire process," something along those lines. And a little while ago, the league actually fined Anthony Davis $50,000 for the public statement of his agent, Ron Paul, the fact that they publicly announced that they requested a trade. Let's get into all this nonsense here. Erich, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts when you heard about this whole thing?
I mean, it's pretty obvious he wanted to trade out of there. I think he's wanted out of there for a while. They've said, like, what was it, a month or two ago, they came out and were like, "Oh, we're not trading him." And, but they have no chance of re-signing him. And to be honest, I mean, the most likely landing spot is there with the Lakers. And, of course, it's tampering because, it just is. But in the end, that's probably where he's going to end up going. If he gets traded anywhere else, I don't know how big of an impact it'll actually make on the league this year. I know in this area, Knicks fans have been like, "Oh, Knicks should trade for him." Knicks just don't have the pieces to trade for him. And that's just being a realistic, person who knows basketball. They just don't have the options. And why would Anthony Davis want to come there? And pretty much he'd be like a year and a half rental because you're not guaranteed to re-sign him in New York either. So, I mean, as far as landing spots, LA is looking the most likely. I'd like to see if like another surprise contender comes out, and makes a bid for him. But it'd be interesting to see who that would be. Right now, it's looking like the Lakers.
Yeah, and Dave, I want your opinions on this too, but I want to throw in this whole Los Angeles thing because it's become the new in vogue thing to do. Like you saw Paul George do it. There was rumors that Kawhi was doing it. You request a trade, but you let it be known you want to go to the Lakers. But as we saw with Paul George, just because you request that doesn't mean that's how you're going to feel a year and a half later. I don't really take that I want to sign with the Lakers thing seriously until I actually see someone sign with the Lakers at this point, because nobody's giving me any reason to think that that's anything more than just a veiled threat to the rest of the league, that they say to any team they go to, you're playing by my rule, or at least that's what they're trying to say, is you're playing by my rules, and if I don't like where you're going, I always have the option to freaking leave you high and dry. But, Dave, go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, when it comes down to your point with the LA thing, I mean, I don't think it's choosing LA and LeBron as like a bargaining chip to go somewhere else that maybe you actually want to go. But, at the same time, him going to another team that maybe isn't LA also doesn't guarantee that he doesn't re-sign there. I mean, look at Paul George. Everybody expected him to, leave and go somewhere else, and he re-signed with OKC. So, I mean, all in all, to me, I actually love it, dude. I love the fact that players basically run the NBA. Owners are billionaires. It makes no difference in their lives. Let these guys do what they want to do. But really, to me, the funny part is they fined him $50,000, and I read today that he makes $52,000 or $53,000 for every second that he's on the floor. So when it's all said and done, I mean, this is literally like if you dropped $1 out of your wallet, like you're not going to cry about it. So, I mean, yeah, they fined him. Yeah, it's tampering. But all in all, it's no impact on Anthony Davis's financial life. And when it's all said and done, he's going to end up playing where he wants to play. So I like that, like compared to the NFL where the owners run everything, I like the fact that the NBA is more of a player's first league. And when it's all said and done, they're the guys that are putting on the show and, are actually earning, getting people to sit in the seats. And, when they retire, they're still not going to come to a fraction of what the guys that they played for actually pay them.
Yeah, and to go further, I had seen something today, and I'm probably quoting it wrong, but it's like to find Anthony Davis $50,000 is to like find someone who's making $50,000 $90. So yeah, I agree with you. It's not a huge thing. I think it's just the fact that they did it that was kind of surprising to me, because like my cousin David said in the chat room, and Dave, you can probably agree with me on this, I don't think any of us thought that a player could be fined for making a trade request, just because it seems like it happens all the time. But, I mean, like I said, I think the difference is this probably is the first time where we heard either the player or the agent publicly admit to it in a statement like this. Everything else was kind of rumors and leaked through the media, but you never had an actual player or an agent confirm it today. And I could be wrong, but I think that's why the fine actually happened. So at the end of the day, and I guess this will be the last thing we do about this before we move on, do we actually think Anthony Davis gets traded in season? Because the team that could be the biggest player in this outside of the Lakers is the Celtics, and the Celtics are not allowed to trade for Anthony Davis while they still have Kyrie Irving in his current contract on their roster, because there is a provision that denies teams from having two players at supermax contracts, and I believe Irving already has one of those. So the Celtics are not going to be involved in any trade talks until the summer when Irving opts for free agency at the earliest. So do we think he gets moved in season? And Dave, we can go back to you.
Well, I mean, I'm curious to see what happens with Irving. So, I mean, but Boston has the pieces to make a trade, but like you said, I mean, they can't. So that kind of null and voids that. But I honestly think it could be interesting to just see what happens with Irving just as much as what happens with Davis in the long run.
Yeah. Eric, what do you think?
The only way I could see a trade to Boston working out, I don't see it happening after the season. I think he's more likely to get traded here in the next couple of weeks, the way things are looking. But maybe it would be interesting if the Celtics tried to move Kyrie. But I don't know, where would a landing spot be for him? I mean,
there's rumors that he wants to join LeBron again.
Yeah,
there was rumors again too. You're around New York that he wants to be in New York too. Would maybe the Knicks taking on his contract and trading their high first-round pick to Boston, and then this way Boston could package the Knicks first-round pick and maybe Jason Tatum for an Anthony Davis?
I mean, it's not a bad thought, but number one, that is all contingent on the idea that Irving would sign with whatever team he gets traded to. And I'm sorry, these guys are not going to sign contracts until they hit free agency. These guys are all going to hit free agency. I don't believe for 1 second that someone like Irving is be like, oh, I can make all this money as a free agent. Let me forego that so I can get traded to the Knicks when I could make.
But Mike, they get more money if they re-sign with the team they're with.
I don't think it's an in-season thing because it's all about the bird rights, though. And I think if you get traded, and I could be wrong about this, I think if you get traded in season, the team you get traded to doesn't have those Larry Bird rights on you.
No, they don't. But that's what I'm saying. He could re-sign with Boston and not give up any money and not have to worry about it.
At this point, I don't think Boston's would try to re-sign him, though, because as my cousin David has pointed out many times, they do have all this young talent behind them, and I just don't think they would commit the money to him, given how injury-prone he's been since he's gotten
there. Yeah. I mean, I would give him the money.
I don't know if I would, though. If you got the choice between if you have a shot at Anthony Davis or re-signing Kyrie Irving, at this point, I'm taking Anthony Davis. I'm taking Anthony Davis without even hesitation at all. So, I don't know. To answer my question, I don't think Davis gets traded in season, though. I don't think that happens at all. I think in the offseason when the Celtics – I think what they're going to do over the next few weeks is every team is going to make their offers for him. I heard a rumor that for him to get traded to the Lakers, the Pelicans would start their offer off with Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Zubaka, and a first-round pick. Now, while I think that's perfectly fair, and I would love to see LeVar Ball, after being told that Lonzo Ball is going to New Orleans, I would pay money to see that. I don't think the Lakers do that until they see what the Celtics are going to wind up offering him and, try to use that as leverage. But I think the Pelicans will use the next few weeks to kind of, see where everybody stands and then hope that the Celtics can match it when it gets to June or July. That's my opinion, though. All right. Who wants to get into Super Bowl talk? Does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up before we get into some Super Bowl talk? Either one's good.
No, I guess if you want to talk the Super Bowl, I don't know. We can talk Super Bowl.
Okay. Thanks. All right. So we got Super Bowl 53 coming up. The New England Patriots once again making it to the Super Bowl against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, to me, this will be a pretty interesting game. I think we can all agree there are definitely some matchups that we all would have liked to have seen a little bit more, but that doesn't mean that this game won't be entertaining. I think this will be a very good matchup. We got the youth of Jared Goff taking on the experience of Tom Brady. Could this be the last time we see the Patriots in the Super Bowl? I feel like we've said this each of the last 3 years. But here we are again. So things we are looking forward to in the Super Bowl. Eric, I will start with you.
I'm always a big fan of the prop bets myself. I mean, more than the game. I mean, we can talk about the game, but we've all seen Tom Brady and Bill Belichick here so often. It's like, what do you say about them? They're just a machine, and they just keep turning out wins. You hope somebody else can get in their way. I mean, the Eagles got in their way. The Giants have been able to get in their way. The Rams have a really good team, really solid defense, but the same thing comes down to with every Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Can you put pressure on him? If you can put pressure on Tom Brady, you can win. Get no pressure. He's going to pick you apart, and you're not going to win. No chance. Because in a close game in the fourth quarter, if you can't get to him, he's going to drive down the field. He's going to win the game. It's that simple. So your defense, Aaron Donald, you better show up ready to play. You got paid the big bucks. You're here to be the big man. Show you're the big man. Get to Brady.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Dave, what you got?
Well, I mean, I agree with Eric. I think when you're breaking down how this game unfolds, it's really a matter of if the Rams can get to Brady or not get to Brady. But I think, one of the things I'm interested in seeing in the game is what role Gurley plays after the first two playoff games. So I'm curious to see that. Prop bets, as always, like Eric said, they're a lot of fun. But, I mean, all in all, I think the bottom line is it's cool to think that if the Rams win, that maybe the Brady-Belichick era does come to an end after beginning against the Rams. So I think that'd be kind of cool. But bottom line is, if you can't get the Brady, then you're not winning the game. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, I know my cousin's saying in the chat room that even if you do get pressure on him, he can still win the game. I think the teams that we've seen have the most success with it. You can look at the Giants, you can look at the Eagles. If you're able to keep the pressure on them, because it's one thing to put the pressure on them, but you saw with the Falcons, they put the pressure on him and then they let up in the second half. That's when he was able to really orchestrate the comeback there. And that combined with the fact that the Falcons went away from the run. But the teams that are able to keep it out for the whole game, they're the ones who are really able to keep Brady off balance to the point where their offense can kind of take over and, take the advantage. So the Rams definitely have the players who can do it. I've heard over the last couple of days, this is really where we're going to see whether or not Erich Sue can be considered a bust or not, because I know people feel that he always winds up showing up in the big games, even though considering he's played for the Lions and the Dolphins, I can't remember the last time he was ever really in a big game where his team won. So we'll see if he's able to do it. Dante Fowler, Brockers, Aaron Donald, all those guys, they definitely have the pieces in place to do it. And I think in terms of imposing defense, at least on paper, this is definitely could be his biggest challenge in the playoffs to date. But I know we've been saying about the Rams for the last couple of years. They always seem to have the pieces in place to have this really formidable defense. But it's been very inconsistent over the last couple of years, where one week you think they can dominate anyone, and then the next week they give up 35 points and get blown out. So it is about which Rams defense you're going to see. And Dave, like you said, is Todd Gurley going to be able to play? Because I know I had heard an interview he did over the weekend where a lot of people felt like he was kind of hinting at the fact that he may still be hurt. And I don't think the Rams are going to be able to win this game if they're relying on C.J. Anderson over Todd Gurley. We had talked about that last year. So, yeah, you got a lot of factors there. I will leave it to you guys, though. Anything else you guys are really focusing on or looking for in the Super Bowl? Because it seems a little silly to just go straight into predictions here. So, Dave, anything else?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things you're always wondering is the trick plays and the gadget plays, because there's usually at least one in every game. And so, and with how creative we all think Sean McVay is, you kind of want to see what kind of things he's able to pull out and what he's going to, do that you haven't seen all season long. And it's not that I'm not, looking forward to watching the Super Bowl. It's more the fact that it's 2 weeks of getting ready for it. So it's like you've heard everybody talk about everything, and you heard everybody go over everything and the individual matchups. And, Brady like we talk about them getting to Brady. Brady hasn't been sacked in both playoff games. Hasn't been sacked once. That offensive line has played really well. They're converting over 60% of their third downs in the playoffs. Like, they're playing really, really, really good football. They got a chip on their shoulder. Everybody counted them out. They're too old. They're this, they're that. And then, you have Courtney Roby or whatever his name is come out and say, Brady's kind of lost a step and he's not the same player anymore. And I just I don't know. I think it's one of those games. It's at the point now where you're almost just like, can we get there already? Like you're ready to see the game. You're tired of kind of breaking it down. So there's nothing specific, outside of what I kind of just ran through that comes to mind for the game. If I'm being honest.
And to kind of go off of what you were saying then before you give it to Eric, yeah, it definitely. I mean, there's always 2 weeks in between the conference championship and the Super Bowl, but I think the combination of the fact that, like you said, it does kind of drag out a little bit that time in between, but it's also the fact that once again it's the Patriots. You know their strengths, you know their weaknesses. You followed them for the last 17 years. They are the one team that for some reason, and I know this is true because I just dealt with this at my job yesterday, even people who don't follow football know one thing, and that is that they don't like the Patriots. So, my boss now has said, oh, no one's going to be into the Super Bowl this year because there's no good teams. No, the translation there is there are good teams. You just know enough about football. No, you don't like the Patriots, don't you? That seems to be what everybody has in common. Eric, what do you got?
A lot like Dave said, I think the game's been broken down so many ways. Like I said, to open, I'm looking more at the prop bets. I'm looking more at, I think I saw one of them over under how many tweets for Donald Trump on the day of the Super Bowl. I think the over under was 6.
Oh,
and silly things like that, who's going to score the first touchdown, coin flip. I love the coin flip. I always just randomly bet somebody, a couple bucks just on the coin flip. It's just silly things like that. Another one, my favorite, which I'm trying to look up. I am not sure of right now, but it's my favorite one usually every year. Over or under on the national anthem.
Oh,
do you
how
know
long
who's
it
singing
is?
the national anthem?
No, I don't know.
What was the question? What was the question, Eric? I didn't hear that.
Now, who's singing the national anthem this year?
Oh God, I just heard someone say. Who? Does anybody watch that show, The Masked Singer? I think it's Gladys Knight.
Gladys Knight. Oh wait, I'm gonna look up this prop bet because it's my favorite every year. Maybe we.
Cousin David in the chat room's got it. The over/under's 3 minutes.
3 minutes on Gladys Knight.
I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I'd go over on that.
3 minutes. I'm going to tell you guys, as somebody who loves this bet each and every year, 3 minutes is a long time. So you'd have to hold a lot of notes. I want to say a lot of people are around like the 2:15 to the 2:30 mark. For her to go a full-on 30 past that, I'm going to be the one out of the 3 then take the under. Take any under.
All right, Mike, mark it.
All right, I'll mark it. But here's the thing. I didn't know what the average was. So you're saying the average is 2.5 to 2?
No, that's just because in the years past of doing this, I'm trying to remember. There's a few other people that have looked up in years past, and I feel like they've come in more around like the 220 mark. Could be wrong. I don't know if cousin David in the chat wants to check my math on that. Wants to fact check me on that.
You got Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey took 6 minutes one year. Jesus Christ.
I don't know. Maybe she might have. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Mariah Carey.
She might have fell asleep halfway through. I don't remember the 6 minute one. I don't remember that bad.
Very possible. That's the best line of the show right there, Eric. You got it right there. All right. Okay. So I'll mark it. So what? Eric got under 3 minutes, and Dave, you and me got over 3 minutes. I'll stick with that. All right. She heard it through the grapevine there. Well, what other prop? Okay. What other prop bets we got there, Eric? Name a couple other ones.
Color of the Gatorade. That's always one of my favorites.
Wait, what did you say? Color of what? Color of what?
Color of the Gatorade they dump on the coach.
Oh, Jesus. People bet on anything.
Oh, it's awesome. The prop bet list is through the freaking roof.
I'm going to look. Where do you guys go for the prop bets? I want to look at this.
How many plays Tony Romo will correctly predict before the snap? The over or under is 7.5. I think that's pretty interesting.
Take the over.
I'm going to go under on that. But, Eric, you bring up Tony Romo. I know you're loving – what was the meme that came out last week? It was something to the effect of, it's great that Tony Romo shows such enthusiasm and knows what the defenses are doing. If he did this when he was playing, they might have won a couple of Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's possible.
Yeah. All right. Run down a couple more.
Just a silly one, actually, about the game, actually. The Patriots will record more first down than the Rams, is one. Let's see what else I can find. Rams go under 1.5 sacks. 1.5 sacks for the Rams. Another one.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Eric, real quick. Cousin David found out the math on the Star Spangled Banner. Spanning all 10 previous performances, the time taken to perform the Star Spangled Banner is exactly 120.4 seconds or 2 minutes, 4 seconds. Just to throw
that was
that
within the ballpark.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think 3 minutes is a long time. I think you guys are off.
The actual bet, according to USA Today, for Gladys Knight's singing the national anthem, the over/under is 1:47, not 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing over/under.
Oh, if it's 1:47, she's going over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over on that.
I'm going to stay with the over
on that.
because the over/under I'm seeing here is 110.5 seconds. That's 1:50 right there.
Even still, she's going over 2 minutes.
Yeah, she's definitely going over 2 minutes. Yeah,
she's definitely going over 2 minutes.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good on the prop bet. So let's get to who we think is going to win this game. Let's do some predictions here. Dave, I will start with you.
I mean, I think it's something that we've said consistently throughout the last 2 games the Patriots have played. Until they prove me wrong, I'm not going against them. I think the Rams have a good shot. I think the Rams have an unbelievable opportunity to be able to win this game. But I feel like so many things have been bet against the Patriots that's when they tend to be their best. And I think that's the case we're looking at again. So I'm going to take New England 27-21.
Okay. I want to go on a quick little 30-second rant because you brought up something that I have to say something about. This idea that it's the Patriots against the world and that they play themselves up like they are the underdogs. Dude, I don't care if everybody's rooting against you this year. You have literally been the favorites in this league for the last 17 years. If you are the underdogs one time, shut the hell up and deal with it. Play the game. On no planet in this galaxy are you considered the nation's the face of the underdog for the nation. You're not. Get over it. All right? With that being said, I know everybody is rooting against the Patriots like they always have been, doesn't make them the underdog. I am also going to say the Patriots too. I think the Rams have a much better shot than people think. It comes down to how well their defense is going to play because I fully expect the offense to be on point here. I definitely do. How much pressure will that defensive line be able to get on Brady, and will they be able to keep it up for the entire length of the game? It's one thing to start off strong, like I said earlier. It's all about how you finish the game. I'm going to take the Patriots by a field goal, 27-24. Eric, what do you got?
We're all kind of a similar score, but I'm going to go the opposite way of both of you guys because I can't root for Brady. He wins a lot. Listen, he's probably going to go down as the greatest quarterback of all time when all is said and done. And I just really don't want to see him win another ring. So I'm going to go Rams 27-23 in a good game, but a game that hopefully Brady will be on the losing end of.
I do want to point out just because you pick a team to win doesn't mean you're rooting for them. It just means you think.
No, I'm just hopeful. It's the hope inside of me that I hope that I don't know. I'm hoping the Rams come out fired up, that they're just in there looking at tape of the 3 Super Bowls that New England lost, not the ones that they won, the ones that they lost.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Looking at those 3 Super Bowls and going, what did those defenses do right to stop Brady? And keying in on those defensive things the last 2 weeks. That's what I would be worried about.
I would
Offensively, you're going to be able to move the ball. You have Gurley. You have a solid offense. I'm not worried about the Rams moving the ball. The Patriots are an okay defense. But they're really driven by the offense and Brady. That's what it comes down to. You got to stop them. And I really think that the Rams are one defense that can actually do that. Although I'm not really happy to hear this corner running his mouth off and giving Brady some extra drive, because the last thing you want to do is give them some more bulletin board material. But I don't know. It's the optimism in me that the Rams have a good enough defense to stop Brady.
I would also watch the one that they beat the Falcons in, because you want to know what the Falcons did so you don't do it. You want to do everything they did in the first half, and then you want to do nothing they did in the second half. That's basically why I would watch that game. Anyway, so those are our predictions there. Dave, I know you got to get out of here a little early tonight, so we will let you out of here. Do you have any final thoughts before you get out of here, my friend?
I hate snow, and I can't wait till it's summer. Other than that, I hope it's a good Super Bowl. I look forward to recapping it with you guys next week, and maybe, talking about something that's not football for a show. So you guys have yourselves a good evening. I'm going to go finish shoveling my driveway.
You have a good night too, my friend. Thanks for coming on, Dave. Appreciate it, man. Dave Hastings, everybody. And, yeah, it has snowed entirely too much today. I lucked out in the fact that I did not have to work today. But, Eric, I don't know about you, but it has literally snowed all day today. It's been insane.
Yeah, it's been no fun. It's been not a fun day. So, and then it's supposed to get bitter cold tomorrow, so more no fun.
Yeah, no, apparently it's going to be bitter cold for the entire next week. So there's that. But, and I don't know about you, because you and me share a birthday, I want to bring this up. Because it was like -20 on our birthday last Monday. I can never remember a birthday I had where it was that freaking cold. How about you?
No, that was as cold as I can remember.
Yeah.
But again, we were right in the middle of the last cold spell, and another one's about to hit us. It's that Arctic blast that's on the way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we got about 9 minutes left in the show here. And let's talk a little baseball here, because you know something, for about 2 years, you've heard me say that I want to see the Mets go out and sign all these relievers. You can do nothing but, if you sign relievers, you add to the bullpen, increase that, you get it deeper, because you go through bullpens like most people go through water and socks. You be in decent shape for the season. And guess what, Eric? They may not like the way they did it, but they got there. They signed their third reliever. They added their third reliever this offseason. They already got Edwin Diaz and Jeurys Familia. And I said that Familia signing would look a lot better if they added another guy who could pitch in high leverage situations in the 7th and 8th inning. And they added the guy who was unquestionably the third best left-handed reliever on the market this year. And they signed Justin Wilson to a 2-year, $10 million contract. What were your thoughts on that?
Literally have no thoughts on that. Have you seen his numbers? I think it's clear whether it's against lefties or righties. He's god awful.
He's not god awful against either of them. Actually, he's got very.
No, I saw one of them. He had like a 2. At least they were batting 280 off him. No, right-handers 280 something.
I don't.
He was better against lefties, if I'm not mistaken.
If I could have this wrong, last year, from what I remember, he was very good against both right-handers and lefties. He had a 3-something ERA, a little bit high on the whip. He walks, and like all Mets pitchers, he has some problems with control. every now and then. But he has very good career marks. He might, for his career, be a little bit better against righties than lefties. But I think it was last year. And throughout his career, he's been good against lefties. So I am actually very confident with Justin Wilson coming to the Mets next year. I am.
Now, would you rather have Justin Wilson or would you rather have Adam Ottavino?
You know, I mean, that's a good question. I'll give you that. The only reason I will say Wilson is because the Mets never have enough lefties. They never have enough lefties. They've had to go with Jeremy Blevins for like the last 3 years, and Jeremy Blevins sucks. He was good at first. He is not a very good left-handed player. So the fact that you don't have to deal with him anymore, I'm fine with. Ottavino, I like Ottavino. You guys did good getting Ottavino. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but just by the fact that Wilson's a lefty, I'm fine with the Wilson signing. I really am. I really am. Though I would be lying to you if I didn't say I think the Mets should still try to add another reliever. There's plenty of them out there. I mean, I got the list right here. No, I went away from the list. I'm sorry. Not going to find it. There are still about 5 or 6 really good right-handed relievers out there because if you look at the Mets bullpen right now, it's probably deeper than it's been in about 10 years with Diaz, Familia, Wilson, Lugo, Gazelman. You got Luis Avalon, who they signed to a minor league contract. Hector Santiago signed to a minor league contract. You got a couple of the younger guys that you could throw in there. But you take a look at what's still available out there. Brad Boxberger, Tyler Clippard, Greg Holland, Daniel Hudson, Jim Johnson, Ryan Madsen, Bud Norris, A.J. Ramos, Sergio Romo, Drew Storen, Adam Warren is still out there. You have a number of guys who, if you bring in right now with the way your bullpen is situated, take care of those 6th and 7th innings in case people get blown out, you got some serious depth there. And I would love to see them sign another guy. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they can sign another guy. I just don't know if they actually will.
Well, it's not exactly it's not exactly like they're spending that money on Bryce Harper or Manny Machado anytime soon.
No, which I'm still. They're both still out there, and it seems that the years are dropping off. I'm hopeful the Yanks may slip in the back door with a late second move. I've been hearing a lot of negative stuff saying that they've been backing away, that it looks like Harper maybe to the Phillies and Machado possibly maybe White Sox, but the Padres were now interested in talking to him. I don't know how serious that talk really is. So the Mets, they could sign another reliever. I just don't see it happening. I'm waiting for the other big shoes to drop still.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe the rumors that came out yesterday, Harper to the Phillies sounds like it may be a done deal, but it also hasn't been confirmed by anybody. So that's still out there. And A.J. Pollock, we talked about him earlier in the offseason. He signs a 4-year deal worth $50 million with the Los Angeles Dodgers with a player option for the 5th year. And I am stunned. What did you think when you heard that? This will probably be the last thing we get to tonight.
I thought it was pretty funny that we had talked about it. We had talked about years and money, and that was in the ballpark of money you were talking about, and the Mets didn't sign him. So that, to me, just shows me where the Mets' head is at still. So I don't have much faith in them. I'm pumped for a Yankee season, though.
Well, I'll say that
catchers can't get here soon enough.
Well, I will say this, and this will probably be the last thing we do before we say our goodbyes. You look at where the Mets are right now, I don't think the Mets have done a bad job this offseason. They have more offensive depth than they've had in a number of years. They got a lot of really good infield options, in my opinion. If you don't look at Todd Frazier, they have plenty of depth in the outfield. I don't think they are obviously not the clear-cut favorite in the NL East, especially if Manny Machado or Bryce Harper signed with either the Nationals or the Phillies. But the fact is, in my opinion, if Harper signs back with let's just say he signs back with the Nationals and Machado signs with the Phillies, I don't think it makes either of them the clear-cut favorites in the division either, because in my opinion, you have 4 teams who are all capable of winning the division if things break right for them. There's no better, no worse among the Nationals, Phillies, Braves, and Mets, in my opinion. The Nationals might have a slight edge, but whenever the Nationals have an edge, they blow it every freaking time. It seems. You have a response to that.
My response is, regardless of how high you think the Mets can reach this season, do you see them as an actual World Series contender? Because I don't. Maybe they can make a playoff push, but I still look at teams in the East like Houston and the Yankees and even Boston and say I would take any of those teams in the East over or any of those teams in the AL over those teams in the NL.
Well, as of right now, I would agree with you on that. But we'll just see what happens. Like you said, I'm looking forward to spring training too. It should be a very good season, very interesting baseball season once we get into spring training and the Major League season of 2019. So with that, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Erich Chesler, thank you so much for joining me here tonight, my friend. Do you have any final thoughts?
No. I saw Glass. Don't know if you've seen it, but
I
was
saw
really
it.
good.
I saw it on our birthday last week. You liked it?
I did. I was a fan. I enjoyed it. I got it. I was a fan. I liked it.
I would have liked a slightly different 5 minutes before the ending. You know what I mean. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I would have liked to see a slightly different 5 minutes before the ending. But the way the final twist worked out, I thought it recovered nicely, and I was satisfied with the ending. I was satisfied. So it was pretty good. I'll give it that. All right, man. So from Erich Chesler, I am Mike Aguilera. Cousin David, thank you for joining us as well tonight, and thank you for being my almost pinch hitter. I appreciate it. You're going to get on this show one of these days, David, so be ready for it. We will see y'all next week. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
It's ready.
Yeah. Erich, thanks a lot, man. See you next week, my friend.
Anytime, buddy.
All right.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Yo, later, David.